I feel like people are still confused on if Jake Paul is a YouTuber boxer or a real boxer. How do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
I mean, what he's doing is, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him, more power to him.
Biggest live gate, 18.1 millions in U.S. boxing history outside of Las Vegas. A phenomenal night. I'm sorry I didn't knock him out. After I seen him a little bit tired, I didn't want to put too much hurt on him, but I wanted the fans to get a good experience. But there was a point where all of my aggression and like super violence and like I'm gonna knock this guy out and show him, it went away when I wasn't getting hit much at all.
Floyd Mayweather, no stranger to the world of boxing and its theatrics, has shared his unfiltered thoughts on the lawsuit involving Jake Paul and allegations that the fight against Mike Tyson was scripted. During a live session, Mayweather reportedly called for the end of fake fights that tarnish the reputation of boxing. His remarks came as news surfaced about Jake Paul facing legal challenges over accusations that the bout was staged, fueling widespread debates about the integrity of celebrity boxing matches.
As long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's gonna continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter, a real fighter that can really fight, it's not gonna be that good.
Mayweather expressed his dismay at the current trajectory of boxing, where spectacle often takes precedence over skill. He stated that fights like Paul versus Tyson undermine the years of hard work, discipline, and sacrifice that professional boxers put into their craft. Mayweather was emphasizing that the sport requires real dedication and authenticity to maintain its respect and credibility. The undefeated boxing champion addressed the broader issue of celebrity and influencer boxing, criticizing it for prioritizing entertainment value over genuine competition. He argued that while such events may draw attention to the sport, they risk alienating longtime fans and damaging its legacy. Mayweather, who himself participated in high-profile exhibition matches, distinguished his ventures as respectful of the sport's core values and accused others of exploiting boxing for quick monetary gain. On the allegations against Jake Paul, Mayweather didn't mince words. He suggested that if the fight was indeed scripted, it was a disservice to the fans who paid to witness an authentic battle. He added that incidents like this could harm the future of boxing by eroding trust between the sport and its audience. Mayweather further hinted that the rapid rise of influencer boxing could lead to tighter regulations, as these events often blur the lines between professional sports and entertainment.
So, I'm proud of him. I'm not really upset. Even like, it was so crazy. I remember just a while back, his brother was like, "Oh, I didn't get paid. It was just like I said before. He just want to keep his name out there. You know, as long as he attached his name to mine, he gonna keep my name out there. Remember what he said? He said, "Oh, Mayweather ain't gonna. He didn't pay me. He didn't pay me. Where's the lawsuit? If you didn't get paid, where's the lawsuit?" So it's a bunch of bullshit. But like I said before, they know what they're doing. Both brothers.
Addressing Paul directly, Mayweather challenged him to step away from gimmicky fights and face real competition. He claimed that if Paul truly wanted to be taken seriously as a boxer, he needed to fight legitimate opponents instead of aging legends or individuals outside the professional boxing world. Mayweather was urging both fans and promoters to demand higher standards. Mayweather's comments echo a growing sentiment among purists and industry professionals who worry that the credibility of boxing is at stake. With the lawsuit against Jake Paul gaining traction, it remains to be seen whether the controversy will lead to lasting changes in how celebrity boxing matches are perceived and organized. For Mayweather, the message was clear. The sport of boxing deserves better, and it's time to bring back real, unscripted competition. While fans were likely swept up in the excitement, Chael Sonnen wasn't convinced, particularly after noticing a seemingly trivial detail that caught his attention. For Sonnen, it wasn't the punches or the pre-fight drama that sparked his doubts. It was something far more subtle, yet, in his view, revealing. When Mike Tyson walked through that tunnel and he stumbled, everything became so blatantly obvious, Sonnen explained, highlighting a detail that left him suspicious: Tyson's knee pad. He added, "In my life, I've never seen that. I have never seen a boxer wear a knee pad, not in practice, not in training, not on the heavy bag in his garage, not ever, ever, ever." For the MMA expert, the knee pad's existence and the commentator's complete silence about it raised a red flag. He added, "The whole reason that it stood out as, hey, there's more to this, is the fact that they ignored it like it wasn't happening. Although there was nothing inherently wrong with a boxer donning such a piece of gear, the way Tyson faltered, paired with his choice of equipment and the commentator's deliberate silence, gave the impression of something intentional. Sonnen continued, "We let guys hurt fight all the time. I'm sharing with you an upright posture of boxing. I've never seen it, and I don't think they have either, but they didn't touch on it, and that's what made it suspicious." So, what's really on the line? For Jake Paul, each fight is another step in his pursuit of boxing legitimacy, a journey marked by constant scrutiny and doubt. Taking on a legend like Tyson was meant to solidify his place, but Sonnen's remarks now inject an extra layer of intrigue into what was already shaping up to be a divisive showdown. Looking back at the misstep, it might have amounted to nothing. After all, the so-called baddest man on the planet is already 58. Yet, with the knee pad in place, Sonnen couldn't shake the feeling that there were hints of something deliberately planned. At the same time, Mike Tyson's representative, Andrew Ruff, addressed the growing speculation surrounding the knee pad. In an interview with USA Today Sports, Ruff explained that what appeared to be a knee pad was, in fact, a compression sleeve intended as a preventative measure, not a response to an injury. He drew a parallel to the equipment used by tennis champion Novak Djokovic, stressing that the sleeve was designed to help maintain Tyson's long-term physical health rather than conceal any underlying problems. In the end, the battle sparks questions that stretch well beyond the confines of the ring. Was Mike Tyson's knee pad merely a trivial accessory, or does Sonnen have a point in viewing it as a piece of a meticulously crafted storyline? For now, the enigma persists, sparking debates about the future of boxing and what it signifies for fans who yearn for both excitement and authenticity. At the core of the issue lies the growing tension between boxing's emergence as a form of entertainment and its roots as a legitimate sport. However, as details like these surface, it becomes evident that the distinction between the two is rapidly fading.
Oh, he sucks, or oh, he carried him, and more on that in a moment. The only result that I think people truly would have been happy with is a Mike Tyson knockout of Jake Paul. I think that's the only one that would have sufficed, and that wasn't happening. There was never really any doubt. He landed a couple punches early on, but there was never really a question as to whether or not that would happen. I think Jake carried him. I think Jake didn't want to knock him out. I'm not sure if he could have, but he definitely took his foot off the gas last couple rounds for sure. And ultimately, I'm okay with that. I predicted a Jake Paul decision. I thought it would be a little bit more competitive to get to the decision, but ultimately I'm okay with that.
Meanwhile, it was difficult for Francis Ngannou to see his dear friend Mike Tyson battle Jake Paul. Ngannou, who had Tyson by his side for his boxing debut against Tyson Fury, acknowledged the legendary boxer for lasting the full distance with Paul, though he admitted he didn't enjoy witnessing this particular version of him. Ngannou told TMZ Sports, "It just hurt me to see Mike there in that situation. Like knowing Mike, what he can do, and seeing him there with Jake Paul, and Jake Paul like, hey man, like that sight just hurt me. Although you have to give it to Mike, man." He added, "This is 58-year-old Mike Tyson that's been doing this sport since 12 years old, I believe, and to still be able to stand up on his own at this age, I think it's impressive. Stand up against a young 27-year-old guy, even though I would say he wouldn't be at that level, but wasn't that much of a threat for Mike. You have to give it up to him." Tyson and Paul faced off from the very beginning, initially exchanging fierce energy. However, as the fight progressed, Tyson's pace began to slow. In a later interview, Paul admitted that he had intentionally eased off, guiding the boxing icon through the rounds to prevent any harm. Moreover, Jake Paul expressed his disappointment, stating that he had hoped 58-year-old Mike Tyson would have shown more resilience during their match over the weekend. He said, "I wish he would have put up a better fight so that I could have, risen more and done more. He was surviving. That was the only thing I didn't like." While multiple states declined to approve the fight, Texas gave its approval on the condition that the match be shortened to 8 2-minute rounds instead of the usual 10 3-minute ones. Additionally, the fighters were required to wear 14-ounce gloves, rather than the standard 10-ounce gloves, to reduce the impact of the blows for added safety. Ultimately, the 27-year-old Paul triumphed over an opponent who had been away from professional boxing for almost 2 decades. Perhaps one day, he'll square off against a boxer closer to his own age and in their prime, instead of facing a former MMA fighter or someone nearly 3 times his senior. On the other hand, Joe Rogan has uncovered startling revelations about the much-debated Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. Once again, the bout is at the heart of a storm of controversy, as Rogan, one of the most influential figures in sports commentary, has made bombshell accusations. The popular podcast host recently asserted that the high-profile showdown between the former YouTuber turned boxer and the iconic heavyweight was staged.
How does he feel now? He might have been excited when he said he wanted to do it, but how does he feel now? You got months and months and months of this.
I just want to see something other than those mitts.
Does he dismiss does he wish he didn't say yes to it?
It's like Matt always says, play to your strengths.
Yeah,
no
but
doubt.
you know, you got to take that payday. I mean, what did he make out of that fight? He probably made $10 million or something.
Yeah,
and Jake Paul's very smart, man. Like he gets guys that he's bigger
than,
the only
younger
time
than.
he fought another boxer his size was
He
Tom
lost.
Fury, and he lost. Tom Fury?
Good fight.
Tommy Fury.
Very
Tommy
good
Fury,
fight.
yeah.
Very good fight.
Rogan's remarks have stirred a firestorm in the sports community, sparking heated discussions about the legitimacy of the match and the overall integrity of celebrity boxing. On a recent podcast, Rogan broke down the fight with his signature analytical approach, highlighting what he saw as obvious indications of scripted movements. He noted that the pacing, the absence of intense exchanges, and specific interactions between the fighters seemed unnervingly choreographed. Rogan shared that, with his decades of experience in combat sports, the fight he witnessed wasn't a true contest, it was pure spectacle. He pointed out that the interaction between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson seemed more like a staged performance, crafted to guarantee both fighters left unharmed and with their pockets overflowing.
How's his health? How's his back? How's his knees?
Seems to be having fun when he's promoting it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, he seems to be
it's
into
also-
It's
it.
probably on mushrooms, bro.
Rogan also pointed to the viral leaked audio clip in which Jake Paul reportedly tells Tyson, "I got your money," as possible proof backing his allegations. Although the authenticity of the audio remains unconfirmed, Rogan argued that instances like this cast further doubt on the legitimacy of the fight. Additionally, he emphasized several key moments from the match that, in his view, suggest it may have been staged.
They're going to do everything they can to get him ready for that. There's a lot of money in this.
That's-
And they have 16-ounce gloves, and they have to fight 2 minutes.
So you have to say, how much has Mike Tyson lost from that 20-year-old guy in the 37 years since then, which is crazy. It'll be 38 by the time they fight.
He observed that Jake Paul, typically recognized for his aggressive style and knockout ability, seemed hesitant to fully capitalize on moments when he could have overpowered Tyson. On the other hand, Tyson, while occasionally showcasing glimpses of his former greatness, appeared to refrain from fully committing to punches when it mattered most. Joe Rogan suggested that the fight was likely structured with the intent of lasting the full 8 rounds, prioritizing entertainment while maintaining the safety of both fighters.
I think they're making him have slightly bigger gloves,
14 ounce.
14 ounces.
14s.
That's so sparring
Pretty
gloves.
big.
Yeah, and it's not
Almost.
sanctioned, right? It can't be sanctioned.
It's sanctioned.
It's sanctioned?
It is sanctioned.
How do you sanction that?
Texas.
Yeehaw. Same place you can own a giraffe.
Rogan argued that the entrances, the banter between fighters, and their attempts to engage the audience gave the spectacle more of a WE vibe than a real boxing match. His words have only intensified the growing skepticism surrounding celebrity boxing. In the wake of his comments, social media exploded, with both fans and critics sparring over whether the fight was staged. Joe Rogan's comments have reignited the ongoing debate surrounding the legitimacy of crossover and exhibition bouts. Critics claim that such events prioritize entertainment over athletic integrity, damaging boxing's reputation. However, advocates argue that these high-profile fights help revive interest in a sport that has faced challenges in staying relevant to mainstream audiences. This controversy sparks doubts about the future of celebrity boxing. Should fans start viewing these matches as prearranged, the allure and thrill that fuel ticket sales and pay-per-view buys could diminish. Days have gone by since Jake Paul secured a unanimous decision win over Mike Tyson, yet the fight continues to dominate conversations. Online forums are buzzing with intense speculation, with some even questioning if the match was scripted. To further stoke the flames, a purported fight script has surfaced across social media platforms. In the midst of this uproar, Olympic bronze medalist Tony Jeffries has shared his thoughts on the highly divisive clash. Although it's been several days since Jake Paul triumphed over Mike Tyson with a unanimous decision, the aftermath of the fight shows no signs of fading. The internet is alive with heated discussions, with some doubting the legitimacy of the bout and speculating that it may have been prearranged. Adding fuel to the fire, an alleged fight script has begun circulating on social media. Amidst this frenzy, Olympic bronze medalist Tony Jeffries has weighed in on the contentious showdown, offering his perspective. On Instagram, the former boxer scrutinized the script with precision, analyzing every line and comparing it to the actual fight. The script detailed Tyson's initial approach, a fierce barrage characterized by constant bobbing and weaving to start the action. That's exactly what was going to happen. happen? Would Mike Tyson come out and start moving on his back foot and not bobbing and weaving his head like he always has done? Jeffries said, reacting to the first round. The script also indicated that Tyson would start with a jab, with Jeffries commenting, "Jab is what you lead with, and yes, that's the punch that every fighter throws when the fight starts." Jeffries described the first round of the script as largely accurate. As the Olympic bronze medalist swiftly progressed to the 5th round, his curiosity grew about how the script would conclude the fight. According to the script, the battle wrapped up in the 5th round, with Jake Paul landing a powerful right hook that knocked out Mike Tyson. Jeffries dismissed this outright, saying, "Obviously this did not happen, so this script is full of BS." Jeffries concluded, "Ironically, this was the very thing that made the bout so boring in the first place. There was no knockout, not even a knockdown. At this point, it's clear that the fight wasn't choreographed or planned in advance. While it's understandable to feel frustrated by the outcome, suggesting it was fixed delves into a whole new territory." Jeffries shared a similar thought, speculating whether Tyson had deviated from any potential script during the match. Continuing to discuss the bout, Jeffries questioned, "Did they go off script?" He remarked, "Boxing is not an old man's sport, it's a young man's sport," acknowledging that there have been champions like Bernard Hopkins who thrived in their 40s. However, he noted that Tyson was in his late 50s, which contributed to his loss. Jeffries posed a thought-provoking question. "Do you think Mike Tyson would lose a fight to earn some more money?" Jeffries asked why Tyson, who is supposedly earning $20 million for the fight, would agree to lose for a few $1,000,000 more. "Mike Tyson, who's a multimillionaire, doesn't need any money right now whatsoever," he said. Jeffries further argued that despite the claims of the fight being scripted, time really does take its toll, especially when you've not been living the life of an athlete for over 20 years. Shannon Briggs, a former world heavyweight champion, is a crucial figure who feels he significantly influenced Paul's journey. The seasoned boxer provided guidance to the problem child in the early days of his career. Briggs closely observed the encounter between Paul and Tyson, sharing his insights on whether the match seemed to be tainted by predetermined results. He said, "No, I don't think it was rigged. I think Mike should have thrown more punches." In addition, Shannon Briggs recently claimed that he bears some responsibility for Tyson's loss to Paul. Reflecting on his early days in the sport, Briggs shared how his work with Paul played a crucial role in shaping the fighter we now recognize. Briggs said, "I feel responsible because I feel like I created this monster. We developed what you see now with YouTube boxing. It's crazy." Briggs also shared his regrets regarding Tyson's actions throughout the conflict. He said, "I would have liked to have seen Mike throw more punches. I wonder why he wasn't. He should have went crazy and got busy and took it to him." The event, initially set for July, was postponed after Tyson's ulcer flared up, sparking growing worry about the 58-year-old's comeback. Iron Mike wore a knee brace during the match, but struggled to display the fierce aggression that had once earned him the title of baddest man on the planet. Despite the challenges, he pushed through without halting, completing the entire distance. Lennox Lewis, once Tyson's foe and now a friend, was there to support his former rival. The two had clashed in 2002, with Lewis securing a stoppage win. At that time, Lewis held the title of undisputed heavyweight champion. As he looked ahead to his upcoming match with Paul, Lewis succinctly captured his emotions in just 5 words during an interview with ES News. He said, "Glad nobody got knocked out?" In an interview with Fight Hub TV, Benavidez summarized Iron Mike's performance in just 4 words. He said, "He needs to retire." Benavidez continued by explaining why he didn't want to see the renowned fighter get back in the ring. Benavidez described the fight as an exciting contest and a successful event overall. However, he also expressed a wish for Mike Tyson to consider retiring from the sport. He noted that Tyson had delivered an impressive performance, secured a well-earned paycheck, and most importantly, avoided any injury, which he was grateful for. While recognizing Tyson's iconic legacy, Benavidez emphasized that a 58-year-old Tyson is far removed from the fighter he once was.
To be honest with you, I think it was a good fight, good turnout, but I don't want to see Mike Tyson fight no more. I think he hopefully hangs it up. I think it was a good show, but shit, he needs to retire.
Moreover, Frank Bruno shared his opinions about the fight on Instagram the day after the Netflix streaming event, calling it difficult to watch. He said, "Well, it was a challenge trying to watch the fight. It was not great, was it? But if, as a business deal for Mike, it worked, good luck to him." Even with record viewership, the former world champion went on to say that it wasn't good for boxing as a sport. He said, "If it bought millions of people who don't watch boxing to watch out of interest, okay. But for me, what was always called the noble sport lost a bit of its nobility." Tyson has confirmed that his recent bout marked his last, despite hinting at the possibility of continuing in the ring. Paul, now 11-1, has added a legendary heavyweight to his list of victories, but the story extends beyond just the numbers. He remains firmly convinced that a showdown with unified super middleweight champion Saul Canelo Alvarez is on the horizon in the cruiserweight division, even though Canelo has shown little interest in such a matchup to date. Jake Paul has also revealed he's prepared to face Daniel Dubois after receiving a challenge from the IBF heavyweight champion. Dubois, via a direct message on Instagram, offered Paul the opportunity to fight for the heavyweight title. With this challenge, Dubois becomes the latest boxing figure to take aim at the 27-year-old. Dubois wrote, "Hi Jake, good business on the weekend, but how would you feel fighting for the legitimate heavyweight championship of the world? This is Daniel Dubois, calling you out. Let's get it on." Paul replied by sending a photo of a ticket dispenser labeled "Get in line," followed by a screenshot of their conversation captioned, "Dude's been boxing for 12 years, has more than 100 fights both amateur and pro, and was on my undercard. Ha ha ha. But f*** it. I'm going to have Nakisa talk to Frankie Warren and get you in line for the throne. Unlike Artur, at least you have a few thousand fans." On September 21st, in a career-defining battle at Wembley Stadium, Dubois triumphed over Anthony Joshua to retain his IBF World Heavyweight title. The self-proclaimed Kingslayer left the crowd in awe, dropping Joshua 4 times before securing a knockout in the 5th round, all before a roaring crowd of 98,000 fans. Fans were excited about a potential showdown between AJ and Dubois. However, Eddie Hearn has suggested that the quick turnaround could leave Joshua unprepared for the fight. As a result, Dubois and his promoter, Frank Warren, are exploring alternative opponents, including Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley. Despite this, it appears Dubois is eyeing a different challenge, expressing interest in facing the YouTuber-turned-boxer down the line.
Crazy scenes in the boxing world today, as always with our sport guys, as heavyweight champion of the world, Daniel Dubois, has called out Jake fucking Paul. What is going on? I don't really know what the Daniel Dubois is thinking with this, but let's be honest, it's probably not serious. It's probably him just having a bit of fun and doing a bit of clout chasing. But have you guys noticed, every time Jake Paul gets called out by a real boxer of a good level, he always shuts it down in some way and makes an excuse?
Former super middleweight champion Carl Froch also took to social media to call out Paul, writing, "I will tie one arm behind my back and finish you for good." To which Paul responded, "Fucking sour loser, shut the fuck up. I've done more in 4 years than you have in your life. First and last time I respond to your broke, salty ass. Let me know if you want to wash my cars." Froch was less than impressed with Paul's reply and snapped back, "Listen up, Jakey boy. I'm 11 years retired, not done a round of boxing for over a decade. I'm old, gray, and out of shape, but I'd still give your missus the best night of her life. I bet she dreams about a real man. Let me know if you still want your cars washing. She can let me in through the back door. P.S. I'd knock you out in 30 seconds. You are useless." After securing back-to-back victories over his fierce rival George Groves, Froch hung up his gloves in 2014, finishing his career with an impressive 33 wins from 35 professional bouts. While he may not have a desire to square off with Froch, Paul admitted that before Dubois' challenge, he had been contemplating a showdown with Canelo Alvarez, the reigning super middleweight champion. "Canelo needs me, so I'm not even going to try and call him out," Paul said after beating Tyson. "He knows he wants a payday, so he knows where the money man is at." Jake said, "He's going to want a payday, and I want to show the world all the stuff I've been talking about beating Canelo is true, and I'll have the biggest upset in the history of boxing. We'll fight to really see who is the face of boxing, because after this event, I'm going to be claiming it." Meanwhile, when questioned about his plans for the future after losing to Jake Paul, Mike Tyson startled everyone by saying he would not be rematching. Instead, he aggressively confronted Logan Paul. "I don't think so. Maybe I'll fight his brother," he told Ariel Helwani, who was probing into his retirement plans. So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos.